This is, oh, did it start? Okay. This is the critique over the capital punishment. And what are you doing?
Keep going there, make sure.
The articles we're using are the death penalty legend and the risk of wrongful execution of innocence.
And then the front line, I think it's called death by fire.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. And Ruben is going to be joining us for a few comments.
I'm just a visitor.
Okay. All right, so we're going to start with the
Video.
front line.
Front line.
What do we want to start with?
I guess.
Whether he's innocent or not?
Let's just get right into it. Let's just start with the doubt, with the doubt whether or not he's guilty or not.
I don't know. Okay. I'm still sticking to my convictions that he's a coward. And whether he actually murdered the kids or not, in my mind, like whether he started the fire or not, in my mind, he's still somewhat of a murderer. Because
So-
he's a coward and couldn't go back in there.
Just straightforward, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
In your mind. Okay.
Guilty.
And guilty not necessarily because he started the fire or not, but guilty in the sense that the kid, like,
Because he didn't do anything about it.
he didn't do anything about it.
Okay. Me, I really don't know. I don't think he's guilty, but I don't think he's not guilty.
See, for
I don't
me-
feel like I have enough information to make a decision on that.
So what would you do? Would you put him in prison just to leave him there until they figured out what was right and what was wrong?
Like, what do you mean?
I mean, what would your punishment be for him, or what would you do with him?
I don't feel comfortable with punishing.
Not
With punishment, like,
But I know, but
I
like
feel comfortable
prison.
with that.
I know, but like jail. Like, would you just keep him in jail until?
I mean, they did keep
Felt
him
like
in jail
there
for
was
7 years, didn't they?
No, it was 12.
Same
It's
thing.
12 and
Same
20
difference.
years.
Those 12 years, you could prove a lot. In those 12 years, you can prove a lot, which there was an attempt to do so. You know what I mean? So either way, our tax money went to having him in prison for 12 years before he
I
actually.
know that's why I needed to murder him right away.
Okay, yeah, but then.
As long as he's guilty, as long as he's really guilty. Like, I can't take your point of view. I can understand it, but I can't say that, like, I'm in the gray area because it is the judicial system to where it has to be either you're guilty or not guilty.
Yeah.
That's just how the end result has to come. And
Right.
because there is so much doubt, and because
But there
because-
wasn't doubt until years
finish my
later.
sentence, Kat.
Okay, sorry.
But because you can't for sure prove that it's guilty, I would have to say not guilty. Now,
But that's what the information gathered between the years that he was pronounced guilty. Okay.
But I mean, obviously, you can't put him in jail and call him guilty just because he.
Because you're not sure.
Right. Or because, like, say for example, you said you'd call him guilty just because he didn't care for his kids. You can't do that.
He's not
It
guilty
brings
of
into
the
mind the
crime.
Good Samaritan law.
No, right, okay, I know you can't, but at the time there was evidence that he did start the fire. There's those 20, I don't know what they're called, like the 20 points of arson, or they had 20 reasons why,
Accelerants, 20 accelerants.
20, yeah.
of why and how he started the fire.
But weren't those reasons disproved later on once there had been more technology?
Yeah, but
But she's saying
but
at
I
this
hate,
point in time.
But I hate
At
that,
that
shit.
point in time.
Because you can't. I hate cold case stuff. That's stupid. Because I know technology grows, but I feel like evidence is primed right after stuff happens. And pulling stuff into files, you lose that stuff. Like the people at the fire, all they had to, like the people that went back on the cold case, all they had to look at was photos and what other people had written. Like they weren't there. Like, I mean, you
But
can make up a lot of
information-
shit up about
Yeah,
photos.
but information is interpreted differently by everyone. So like, it's not exactly the
But
direct
it's not like
evidence.
they had one person saying, oh, he caused a fire. They had collaborative people that came up that had those 20 points. Oh, you're so mad at me.
Okay.
Because you're using the opinion of people. People's perceptions are not
Yeah.
reliable.
You put information in your brain on, like, you have these ideas in your brain prior to
Yeah,
it.
but
And so
that's
you
how-
interpret information with
Okay,
the
I
ideas
get
you have
that.
in your mind.
You're
Not
using
everybody's-
all of these heuristics, all of these preconceived notions about the way you think things should be. Not
And
really how
it's
they
not
are.
really,
Not necessarily how they are.
yeah.
Well, then our world would be nowhere if no one used how things should be.
Of course.
Everyone would be
So you're
running
agreeing-
around crazy, murdering shit, because that's how they feel like in their mind things should be.
Of course we need it, but do we need it to condemn a man to death? when it's not reliable?
Like, do you think it should be scientific in terms of determining whether or not they're guilty?
Scientific, yeah.
So it should be objective, not subjective.
And then
Yeah.
the people that you were saying have this, that agreed with the 20 points of arson, they went with their gut feelings. And you said you would like to leave emotion out of things like this. Gut feeling is...
They didn't necessarily go with their gut feeling.
It's actually, like they even
There-
said, I had a gut feeling.
Yeah, but they still had the facts. Granted, they were wrong. Granted, they were wrong on him having the pictures of Led Zeppelin and Metalhead, and they were like, oh, he's Satanist. Like,
Yeah.
that, they were wrong on that.
But
And so, I mean, I'm sure they could be wrong on other things, but I just...
But don't you think their gut feeling kind of influenced their thoughts about the situation?
Yeah, but there's something to said about someone's intuition. You know how they always say mother has that instinct?
Yeah, but you can't do that with the judicial system. You
You can't go by instincts and stuff like that.
It
You have
has-
to go by hardcore facts.
There has to be.
Yeah, but y'all, okay, so saying that, y'all were talking about how you have to look at someone's emotional background and the reasons for why they're there. So y'all just completely were hypocritical to what y'all
No,
were saying.
that's onto the personality of the person. We're not talking about the actual.
But you're giving reasons for the person to do what he did.
No, we're giving reasons for the person's personality, like why they are how they are.
And you're saying you're saying his personality is this way, and so he did this. So you're giving
Right.
reason
See,
to
we're-
what he, like him not going back and getting his kids.
What we're using is a psychological perspective to try to explain why he did what he did.
We're not necessarily saying that it's right or wrong or he shouldn't be punished. We're just saying that that's why he did what he did, or didn't do what he did. Didn't do what he should have.
That's what we're trying to
Either way.
figure out. I mean, obviously, we're not going to say that he did the right thing in abandoning his children in a burning house.
No, he did not. He's a coward.
But did he do something that merits death?
He allowed 3 kids to burn.
Yeah, but
So
if
I guess if you
ours-
look at it in that perspective,
He allowed 3 kids to burn, and they were saying, and
we're allowing plenty of people to die at war right now. Because
Okay, well
I'm
here,
just saying.
no, I'm
Should I be punished?
y'all were saying this. Y'all were saying that you can understand at some point how people freeze when like terror comes around,
Mhm.
and I get that. Like you freeze up. Like I mean, I don't know what I'd do if I saw someone burning, but I mean, if you were to freeze, you think he would freeze inside the house and be like, "What the hell is going on?" rather than running out and saving himself.
Here's the thing. What was his reason for doing what he did? He said that he wasn't going to thrust himself inside the flames because
They're
human-
freaking innocent kids.
Okay, all right, that's fine. I understand that they're innocent kids.
They're his own
But are
flesh
you
and
telling
blood.
me that he should have risked his own life and limb to save his
He
kids?
even mentioned
to save 3 kids that have so much far ahead of them, and
Is
he's
he-
lived a life of
is he
being
mor-
a shitty person.
My question is he morally obligated to put his life at risk in order to save somebody else? Are you saying that people are morally obligated?
Okay, not someone else, but when it comes to your own kids, yes. When you decide to have kids, they always come before your own needs.
So now you're saying that the law creates an obligation for parents to children.
Yes.
okay. He even mentioned that yes, you can say all you
I
want.
love you, and we decide everything stays in this
Yeah.
room. We walk out and
He
it's all
said,
gone.
he even mentioned that you could say all you want, that if your kids were trapped in a burning house, you would go in after them. But when it comes down to it, you just can't do it. He explained that, what was going through his mindset. He said, once it comes down to it, you just can't do it. That's his reaction to the situation.
I mean, as much as you want to
I
say
think
that
he's
you,
a coward.
but as much as you want to say that you can do it or that he should have done it, you can't put yourself into the situation and say that you do it.
Okay, fair enough. But if I wasn't able to go in there and get my kids, I think people should be calling me a coward. And if the evidence at that time pointed to me that I had started the fire, then fine, put me to death.
So what if he's a coward though? That doesn't mean he should be put to death.
Well, the evidence at the time, I'm not
Right.
saying
Okay.
looking
Right.
back, but at the time the evidence was that he was guilty.
So okay, so
At the time he was
Right,
convicted.
but even while he was in prison, they found evidence that refuted that.
yes.
So what? Stay in there and die? And they completely ignored the evidence completely. He could have survived.
Again, I'm not all for the cold case stuff. Like I know technology grows over time and it can further
But-
enhance evidence, but I still think looking back on stuff, I don't know, I feel like you're not there, you weren't there at the scene, you don't
So here's what you're